Philadelphia Flower Show is in full bloom this week, bringing in an estimated 250,000 people to the convention center. This year's theme is rooted, Origins of American Gardening. Colleges and high schools from the region compete in the education section to showcase their budding talents in horticulture. But every rose has its thorn, and Walter B. Saul High School faced many complications when preparing their 2026 display, starting months ago in the Wissahickon Woods.
We had a bit of a hard time for a couple of months there while we were digging rocks out of the woods and limbing trees and branches from trees and stuff like that, where we had a lot of folks who were just kind of like, we're just collecting materials, we're just digging rocks out of the woods. What's going on? What is the vision? What is this?
Vision during the planning months was rocky at times, leaving many people on campus wondering what was going to come out of the materials sitting around Shop 5.
I love that when we saw it on campus, it was just kind of piles of Wissahickon schist and piles of big logs, and then we get here and it's just all put together.
We had to prep how we wanted it to look before we set it up here to make sure everything would fit.
Even after months of design and preparation, the school still had to transport their display the nearly 10 miles from their Roxborough campus to the flower show in Center City, a task that proved extra challenging this year.
On Friday, we were supposed to be loading up all of our stuff into the trucks, but unfortunately, they didn't come. And so we had to wait an extra day. We had to do it all on Saturday. On Monday, all the stuff was sitting in here, waiting to be loaded up and formed into the exhibit. But the snow canceled everybody's plans. Nobody could be in here.
When we're at the flower show, we're not comfy. We don't have all the things we're used to having. We don't have the time we're used to having, but things still need to get done. We say this a lot in class, in kind of hands-on learning opportunities that we get to do every single day, that being able to get the job done is not always as simple as just, here is the material, here is the task, here is the timeline, just do it. Because things don't always go to plan. So sometimes you have to be creative in your problem solving, not just in the larger things of, oh God, there's water all over the floor. How did this happen and how do we fix it?
So all the water came rushing out and we didn't really understand where it was coming from until we looked to the left of the exhibit and it was flooded like a good inch of 30 feet around. We figured out that there was a hole in the tarp at the reflecting pond. So we chose to get Schuler to get a van and drive all the way back to Saul at probably 9 o'clock. And he got the hard basin that's made out of fiberglass. And we popped that right in and then covered it with some stones. And yeah, that's what we're seeing right now.
It had the difficulties that it had. And while they were definitely avoidable, it was successful due to perseverance. It wasn't given up on.
The determination of Saul's horticulture team was rewarded with a silver medal in the education category, their second in 2 years. But this year, they added on the special distinction of winning the PHS Sustainability Award, which according to the Flower Show website, is given for the educational major exhibit that demonstrates the best use of sustainable gardening practices to the public.
So for us to receive something like the Sustainability Award, meaning that we were able to successfully complete one of our missions, which is not only researching and learning for you guys about these practices of management and stewardship that are so effective and so important, and also being lost to cultural history or political history or loss of resources. We were able to do that not just in terms of teaching it to you, but also teaching it to the people who are experiencing our exhibit. We were really intentional in the materials that we used, the practices that we used, and our signage in explaining all these practices that we use, that we learned about, the things that we were able to research and take with us. That is the most exciting thing to me.
Students and teachers are taking a variety of skills with them after this year's show, from making blueprints to designing major structures like the wigwam.
We cut the trees ourselves, soaked them in water, bent them, shaped them, tied them. It was really a labor of love and something that I definitely did not know how to do before this. I'm sure that none of us really did. It's not just a really awesome skill that I thought was fun to learn about and put into practice, but I think it was a really, really tangible way of getting your hands on one of these methods of practice and stewardship that we've been talking about. I think the way that we were able to structure the inside and decorate it as if it was being used by a family is really genuinely wonderful and includes a lot of authentic points.
Since our exhibit is sort of based on the Native American, specifically the Lenape people, we have some plants in the corner, I think ivies. Ivies are kind of like invasive plants, so it sort of shows like how people were coming into the Native American space and sort of taking over.
This certainly isn't like a comprehensive history of the Lenni Lenape people or anything like that. So I think it's just kind of to get people interested in the history of the area and make them want to do their own research.
It's beautiful. It's authentic and helps me learn new things that I never knew, which is why we come to the flower show.
While it's true that the flower show aims to educate and inspire the public, Saul students also benefit from putting on this show.
Of course, they have great hands-on skills now for working with plants, working construction, etc., frameworking things. But I think it's so pertinent for, especially at this age, knowing how to work and communicate as a team, because it's just a skill you're going to carry wherever you go. The plants that we have in our display, the kids either grew themselves in the greenhouses or forced themselves within the greenhouses, and that was a great learning experience from them, rather than just trucking in a bunch of flowers and plants from wherever for that day. So I think there's a lot more meaning and purpose behind the plants themselves.
Much of the success of this year's show can be credited to the skills of returning upper-class students who have worked on previous flower shows.
We had experience from last year, so I feel like we sort of put that experience into like improving our work this year, and it has been easier than last year's design.
It's really awesome watching you guys kind of learn that being creative is not just about artistic skills, it's also about seeing ways out of a problem that someone else's brain might not be able to see.
To see the fruits of Saul students' creativity and perseverance, all while being rooted in an education environment, visit the Philadelphia Flower Show before it closes on March 8th. Signing off for The Cultivator from Walter B. Saul's Lower Greenhouse, I'm Ava Badstubner.